Mrs. Boughton here from Year 6. I just want to give you an insight into how to tackle some reading comprehension, that is, understanding of a reading text. So the piece I'm going to do is a Year 6 text. It's actually a classic text from Heidi by Joanna Spyri. So this is an abridged extract, which means it's a shortened extract, and there are one or two annotations I'm going to show you how to do. That's sort of scribbling all over a piece of writing to help your understanding. And then maybe we'll tackle a couple of questions. Okay, here we go. So as I say, it's an abridged extract from Heidi by Joanna Spyri. I'm going to start by reading it through and I'm going to annotate it as we go. 5-year-old Heidi has just been sent, so I'm going to underline 5-year-old because that in my head helps me to realise what age we're talking about. She's been sent to live with her grandfather on the mountainside above her village. So hopefully now you've got in your head a nice picture of a mountainside and a village at the bottom of the mountain. Peter, her grandfather's goat herd, is 11, so quite a lot older than Heidi. And you might be thinking, what on earth is a goat herd? It's somebody who gathers goats together, who looks after goats, a bit like a shepherd does with sheep. Heidi was awakened early by a loud whistle. The sun was shining through the round window and falling in golden rays on her bed. And on the large heap of hay, you might notice the alliteration there. It's a really good technique where you repeat the letter. And as she opened her eyes, everything in the loft seemed gleaming with gold. Once again, a bit of alliteration there, GG. She looked around her in astonishment, that means in wonder, and could not imagine for a while where she was. But her grandfather's deep voice was now heard outside, so that draws her back to where she is. And then Heidi began to recall all that had happened. So it's coming back to her. Why is it coming back to her? Oh yes, because she's just woken up. How she had come away with her former home, from her former home, and was now on the mountain with her grandfather instead of with old Ursula. So that's who she used to be with. She felt very happy this morning as she woke up in her new home and remembered all the many new things that she had seen the day before and which she would see again that day. And above all, she thought with delight of the two dear goats. So she's really happy. There's lots that tell us that she's happy with this new life that she has. What happened next? Heidi climbed down the ladder and ran outside the hut. There stood Peter. Who's Peter? Oh yes, he's the goat herd, already with his flock of goats. That's a collective noun because goats are described here as a flock of goats, lots of them. Do you want to go with them onto the mountain? Asked her grandfather. Nothing could have pleased Heidi better, and she jumped for joy, there's that alliteration again, in answer. But you must first wash and make yourself tidy. And her grandfather pointed as he spoke to a large tub full of water. So you're immediately thinking, I don't think this is set today. It's not a modern text. There are quite a few clues to that. Normally we'd jump into a bath or a shower. Here we have a large tub of water which stood in the sun before the door. I don't know about you, but we don't tend to wash like that, do we? We have a separate bathroom. So yet again, another clue. Heidi ran to it and began splashing and rubbing till she quite glistened with cleanliness. What beautiful language that is. Glistened with cleanliness. You should remember that for your own writing because that's a good phrase to magpie in there. The grandfather, meanwhile, went inside the hut. So it's not a house, it's a hut. Picture that scene. Calling to Peter to follow him and bring in his wallet. Peter obeyed with astonishment. So that tells us he's not used to being told what to do by grandfather. But he obeyed, so obviously he was a little bit in fear and trepidation of the grandfather. Remember, His grandfather had a deep voice, which makes us think he's quite in charge and maybe a bit scary, and laid down the little bag which held his meagre dinner. I wonder what meagre dinner means. Probably not a lot of dinner, I'm thinking. Open it, said the old man, and again that tells us that grandfather wasn't too pleasant at times. He was quite scary. Open it, said the old man, and inside it he put a large piece of bread and an equally large piece of cheese. So even though maybe he's got quite a forceful manner, he is very kind. He's giving away lots of food, a large piece. So he's not at all stingy, which made Peter open his eyes. Why did he open his eyes? Because he was shocked. For each was twice the size of the 2 portions which he had for his own dinner. So he's been given an awful lot. So that's exactly how I would annotate a piece of text. And it just helps us, going through that process, helps us to really understand what the author is trying to tell us. We need to draw all those things out. So don't be frightened when you are doing